Good day, ma'am. Today, we're gonna defend our outline manuscript entitled New Anti-Terrorism Law, a setback for human rights as perceived by criminology academicians of Davao City. Background of the study. One of the attacks that really shook the world to its core is the September 11, 2001 or the 9/11 terror attack in New York, USA. Recently, under the regime of President Rodrigo Duterte, the Maote or the Islamic State-inspired group clashed with the government forces and raised a black flag with an ISIS logo in front of the MYKE Hospital in Marawi. General problem. The government had newly assigned the anti-terrorism law, which aims to lessen and control these leftist-inspired activities. However, some people think that the anti-terror law will just pave a way for the terrorism to occur. A government incurred hostility towards its people. Specific questions. This study sought to the following questions. Number one, what are the demographics of the criminology academicians of Davao City in terms of age, gender, and educational status? Specific question number two. What is the level of perception in anti-terrorism law of Davao City criminology academicians in terms of social control, conflict resolution, and social facilitation? Number three, is there a significant difference in the level of perception of anti-terrorism law of Davao City criminology academicians when classified according to their demographics? Review of related literature. The role and function of law is difficult, especially when put to specific categories. It is even uncertain to say that all legal system necessarily flows same role and function to the same extent. There are some who follows very specific guides and some follows a general function. Some of the general and broad functions are social control, conflict resolution, social facilitation, integration, social engineering, and social welfare, as stated by Rashid in 2016. Social control. This law specifies when and how people will be held responsible for doing a forbidden behavior or for declining obligations. Law acts as a supplement to the informal methods which society use to control undesirable behavior. It also acts as an alternative to private feud and vengeance. The function of social controls is mainly performed by criminal law. The purpose is to ensure that rights and freedom of individuals are protected and controls are created for stable social and political life become possible. Conflict resolution is also defined as the process that two or more parties use to find peaceful solution. A number of common cognitive and emotional traps, many of them unconscious, can exacerbate conflict and contribute to the need for conflict resolution, such as self-serving fairness interpretation, overconfidence, escalating of commitment, conflict avoidance, negotiation, meditation, mediation, arbitration, and litigation. Social facilitation refers to the improvement in performance introduced by the real, implied, or imagined presence of others. There are usually two types of social facilitation: coaction effect and audience effect. Coaction effect refers to the performance being better on a task merely because there are other people doing the same task as you. Is the effect of it. For audience effect, it refers to the performance being better. It's because you are doing something in front of an audience. Scope and delimitation. Criminology academicians, different colleges and universities in Davao City, only three factors of law will be counted for survey. Research design. We use the quantitative research. Research subject. The subject of this study will be the criminology academicians of different colleges and universities in Davao City. Purposive sampling will be used knowing that the respondent will be fewer. Significance of the study. The following will benefit from the study: aspiring criminologists, community, future researchers. Questions. What's your motivation for this study?
So our motivation for this study is that it is evident that terrorism does not discriminate, whether an individual is from a first world country or third world country. This motivates the proponents in conducting the research relating anti-terrorism and its implementation in the Philippines.
In few sentences, are you able to tell us what your study is all about?
So our study is all about that our government has newly signed the anti-terrorism law which aims to lessen and control these leftist-inspired activities. However, some people think that the anti-terror law will just pave a way for the terrorism to occur. A government incurred hostility towards its people. This research will aim to tell how people, especially criminology academicians of Davao City, perceive the anti-new terrorism law.
How will this study contribute to the body of knowledge?
So the proposed research aims to check whether demographics hold a pre-existing factor as to how academicians perceive the new anti-terrorism law. A lot of people research has been made that prove that demographics play an important role in determining the respondents' behavior and targeting their preferences. It is also used in psychology-related studies as such from study of Shai et al. Entitled Nurse Burnout in its association with occupational stress in a cross-sectional study in Shanghai, 2001. It has proved that age plays a role in older nurses tend to score higher depersonal, depersonalization.
Did you bridge any gap from your study?
So as the so as the anti-terrorism law has just been implemented in the Philippines, this research is considered pioneering in its concept and thus a lot of factors are still open for analysis.
How will this study contribute to the body of knowledge?
So as the anti-terrorism law has just been implemented in the Philippines, this research is considered by
Uh,
stated
Next one.
in its concept. Thus, the proposed research will focus with demographics of respondents here in Davao City. This research will also be of great use as how a criminology inclined academic Davaoeño views the law as for someone where the authority established its name.
What are your research questions?
So this study aims to determine the significant difference among the demographics of criminology academicians of Davao City in their level of perception with anti-terrorism law. Specifically, it seeks to measure the following. One is the what are the demographics criminology of academicians of Davao City? In A is the age, B is the gender, C is the educational status, and two is the what is the level of perception in an anti-terrorism law of Davao City. Criminology academicians in terms of A is the social control, B conflict resolution, and C is the social facilitation. Number three is there a significant difference in the level perceptions of anti-terrorism law of Davao City? Criminology academicians being classified according to their demographics.
What limitation did you encounter? Will you only include three factors?
Yes, it is only include three factors. The role and function of law is difficult, especially when to put into specific categories. It is even very uncertain to say that all legal systems necessarily follow same role and function to the same extent. There are some who follow very specific guidelines and some follow general functions. Some of the general and broad functions are social control, conflict resolution, social facilitation, integration, social engineering, and social welfare. But we focus morely in the social control, conflict resolution, and social facilitation.
What theories or theoretical framework is your study based on?
This study is anchored on the structural functionalism of Herbert Spencer and theory of bureaucracy of Max Weber.
What are your research variables?
So the research variables is the demographics of criminology academicians of Davao City in terms of age, gender, and educational attainment.
What is the significance of the study?
So the result of this study will be of help of the following aspiring criminologists. The result will be give them an idea of how demographics may play as a pre-existing factor for the perception of law, and such will give them insights on how better communicate with people differing their views. Next is community. This study will provide insights into how academicians with prominent background with criminology view the anti-terrorism law. This will give them a good basis for putting their trust as the result will reflect highly credible respondents' perceptions. And lastly, the future researchers. This study will serve as the basis for future researchers to work with as some factors are still not explored, considering this will be one of the pioneering research regarding anti-terrorism law focusing on perceptions of criminology academicians.
Supported your findings, what areas will you suggest for the future research?
As what I stated last, future researchers, this study will serve as the basis for future researchers to work with as some factors are still not explored, considering this will be the pioneering researchers regarding anti-terrorism law focusing on perceptions of the criminology academicians.
What methods or sampling technique did you employ?
The method we employed is the purposive sampling will be used knowing that respondents will be fewer.
Why choose this method?
So we choose purposive sampling method because it represents a group of different non-probability sampling techniques. Usually the sample being investigated is quite small, especially when compared with probability sampling techniques.
What's your measurement instrument?
So the proposed research will be utilize a self-made questionnaire validated by chosen credible people to gather the data needed. The questionnaire will be designed for instructors, professors in criminology to answer.
So that's all, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.